All right, Michael, thank you. Now, Amy and I are going to talk to Texas Congressman Michael McCaul, who was there yesterday when all of this happened. And, sir, we're glad that you are okay. And we know that it was a very, very, very long night, early morning for you, so we appreciate the time that you're spending with us. You were on your way to the House chamber when all of the violence broke out, sir. So tell us what you saw and what you did.
Well, I saw the mobs growing in the morning, and I went to my office. I was getting ready to go to the House floor, and at that point, the alarms started to go off in the Capitol complex, warning us to lock down. And so we did in my office, and watching it just on television live, seeing terror strike the United States Capitol, a really dark chapter in American history, a real threat to our democracy itself. But then seeing the mob climbing the walls of the Capitol, going into the Senate chamber, taking over the president's chair, Speaker Pelosi's office, and then trying to break into the House chamber, where members had to put masks on, gas masks, when tear gas was used. And as you know, that's when the shootings took place. But at the same time, we heard the mob outside my office, so we barricaded the door with all that we really had, and that was a big couch, and we locked it. But we could hear them outside rattling. We were very concerned they were going to break the doors down, and we didn't really have any protection because that's what the Capitol Police does for us. So I grabbed a baseball bat, and then we heard other noises. And according to an eyewitness, the mob had paramilitary uniforms on, and the Capitol Police confronted them and had blood all over their uniforms. They really assaulted our Capitol Police. I give them great credit for stopping this, but I really think the National Guard should have been implemented as part of the strategy earlier on.
Yeah, Congressman, I mean, that scene you described is certainly surreal. You've got a baseball bat in your hand. You're hearing the mob outside, and you are barricaded in your own office as you're watching it unfold on television. How did we get to this point? Why were you not and your fellow lawmakers better protected given these rallies that they knew were going on?
Well, the Capitol Police has about 1,800 people, officers. There were tens of thousands of protesters. And I think maybe perhaps it was underestimated. They were just simply overwhelmed just by sheer volume of people. And, I think the flashpoint, Amy, yesterday was when the mob, I think I criticized some of our public leaders for raising this false expectation that Congress was going to somehow reverse this election and overturn the Electoral College, which under the Constitution, we don't have the authority to do that. But because of these public messengers, that's what the mob thought. They thought they were coming to D.C. to watch the election be overturned and give it to Donald Trump. And when they found out from the vice president's statement that he was not prepared to do that, that's precisely when the violence began. And that's when they started storming the United States Capitol, something we haven't seen since the War of 1812 when the British invaded the Capitol.
Sir, no one's disclaiming that part of what you said absolutely played a role. But also, when you hear the rioters repeating the words of the president, repeating the false claims of the president, when you see the president that morning saying we're going to march down to the Capitol, and in his own words, he said, he said that they were not going to take our country, you're never going to take our country with weakness. Who else, other than what you're talking when you talk about public leaders, should be held accountable for what happened yesterday?
Well, I think rhetoric has consequences. And it certainly did in this case. It got this mob into a frenzy. I think there are others who the charade on the House and Senate floor that somehow we were going to overturn these states and overturn the election was a false premise altogether. And I think that's what led to a lot of the violence. So I think words do matter. The good news is we went back to work. We finished at 3 o'clock in the morning last night, and we certified the election. And that's what Congress is supposed to do. We're not supposed to second guess or overturn these elections. We certify the ballots. That happened last night. And for the first time, I heard the president say, we will have a peaceful transition of power. That's what makes this country great, is that we've always had a peaceful transition of power throughout this country's history. And I was glad to hear the president say that last night or this morning. I wish it had been said before.
I believe he said orderly. He didn't say peaceful transition. He said an orderly transition. And it's a shame that it took a siege of the Capitol for this to be the case. Congressman McCaul, again, in all sincerity, so glad that you and others are safe, and agree with what you said about giving credit to the police force that was there, that is there with you daily for what they did and putting their lives on the line to save you and to save others. So thank you, sir, very much.
No, thank you, Robin. Thanks for having me.
Okay, take care.